Mykelti tried so hard to get the whole family back together again, Christine recalls during Sunday's new episode of Sister Wives. Christine Brown is pulling back the curtain on the reasons why she thinks her daughter Mykelti is moving across the country to Charlotte, NC. During a new episode of Sister Wives on Sunday, October 5th, Christine implied that her daughter's strained relationship with her dad, Cody Brown, is ultimately the reason why she's leaving Utah and making the cross-country move. "I know part of the reason they're leaving is, Mykelti is just exhausted from trying so hard to get everybody back together again," Christine says in a confessional clip, likely referring to the aftermath of the Brown family's plural marriage falling apart over the last few years. "Mykelti tried so hard to get the whole family back together again. She really wanted to," Christine continues. In a flashback scene, Christine, Cody, and Cody's last remaining wife, Robin, can be seen gathered around Mykelti as she makes a heartfelt speech. The scene takes place on the night before Christine left the family's former home base in Flagstaff, Aries, and moved to Utah following her spiritual divorce from Cody in 2021. "I think this is probably something that's one of the hardest things that this family is going to have to go through," Mykelti says to her family in the flashback clip. In the background, Cody can be seen with his arms crossed as a serious expression rests on his face while he listens to Mykelti speak. She concludes, "At the end of this all, we are still a family." Despite Mykelti saying earlier in the episode that she wants her husband Tony to be able to focus on his chess career in Charlotte, Christine notes that her daughter still has a lot of pent-up anger when it comes to their family. "There's a lot of her feelings and frustration and anger and resentment," she says of Mykelti. After explaining that he wasn't able to see his daughter before she moved away because her schedule kept advancing, Cody then reflects on his relationship with his older children in a confessional clip. "I think most of the relationships between me and my adult children are straight. It's an issue of trash talk and innuendo, and it has challenged loyalties and trust on all sides," he says. As documented on previous episodes of Sister Wives, there has been lingering tension between some of Cody's former wives and their 18 children after the polygamous marriage came to an end. Christine was the first to leave the plural marriage in November 2021. Then, her former sister wives Mary Brown and Janelle Brown both announced their separation from Cody within 14 months of Christine's departure. In October 2023, Christine got remarried to her now husband David Woolley in Utah. "Sometimes love means letting go, even when it breaks your heart." The sun was barely peeking over the red mesas of Flagstaff when Christine Brown stood on her porch, coffee mug in hand, staring out into the soft morning haze. The desert air carried a quiet chill, but inside her chest, everything burned with emotion. Today wasn't just another day, it was the day her daughter, Mykelti, packed up her life and began a new chapter thousands of miles away. Christine blinked back tears. She told herself she wouldn't cry, but that promise was already slipping away like sand through her fingers. The breaking point. For months, Christine had sensed it coming. Mykelti had been restless, tired, frustrated, weighed down by the constant tension that seemed to follow the Brown family like an unshakable cloud. Ever since the family fractured, the air around them had grown thick with unspoken resentments. Cody's relationships with his wives had splintered, and the children, now adults with families of their own, were caught in the aftershocks. Mykelti tried to stay neutral, tried to keep peace between everyone, but it had taken its toll. "I can't keep trying to fix everyone," she had told Christine one night over video chat. "Mom, it's exhausting. I love everyone, but there's always drama. Always someone angry, someone hurt." Christine remembered that call vividly, the tremble in her daughter's voice. The way she kept glancing off screen, like she didn't want her husband, Tony, to see her crying. That was the night Mykelti first mentioned moving away. A mother's worry. Now, watching the moving truck back into the driveway, Christine felt her stomach twist. Boxes labeled kids' toys, kitchen, and Tony's tools lined the porch. Mykelti's laughter echoed from inside, but it was tinged with nervous energy. "Mom, where's the bubble wrap?" she called out. Christine blinked and hurried inside, masking her emotions behind a smile. In the hall closet, honey. Right next to the blankets. As she passed the living room, she caught a glimpse of her grandbabies, Avalon twirling in her pink dress, the twins babbling in their playpen. Their innocence made the ache in Christine's chest deepen. They didn't understand that soon, Nana wouldn't be just a short drive away. "You're sure about Utah?" Christine asked gently once they were alone in the kitchen taping up boxes. "Mom," Mykelti sighed, resting her elbows on the counter. "We need space. Tony got a great job offer in Salt Lake, and honestly, I think being away from all this family tension will be good for us." Christine's throat tightened. "You mean good for you?" Mykelti didn't answer right away. She picked at the tape roll, her eyes softening. "You've been amazing, Mom. You always put us first. But every time I see Dad fighting with you, or when the siblings pick sides, it eats at me. I need to build my own life, away from the noise." It wasn't anger that filled Christine then, it was heartbreak and understanding intertwined. She had wanted her children to be free to choose their paths. But she hadn't expected freedom to feel like losing them. Echoes of the past. Later that afternoon, Christine found herself alone in the quiet house after everyone had gone outside. The empty living room looked smaller now, shadows dancing across the walls as the sun moved west. She ran her fingers along the mantel, where family photos once stood. One in particular caught her eye, Mykelti as a teenager, sitting between her siblings during one of their chaotic family dinners. Everyone had been smiling then, even Cody. Those days felt like a lifetime ago. Christine remembered how she used to cling to hope, that if she loved enough, served enough, prayed enough, the plural marriage would somehow work. But love couldn't survive in an environment starved of equality. Her decision to leave had been the hardest thing she'd ever done, but it had also saved her. Still, she knew her leaving had changed everything for her children. Some had embraced her independence, but others, like Mykelti, had struggled to balance their loyalty to both parents. She shouldn't have to choose sides, Christine murmured to herself. None of them should. But deep down, she knew that was exactly what had happened. The cracks between the family had grown too deep to ignore, and now those cracks were carrying her daughter away. The goodbye. By late afternoon, the moving truck was full. The yard was scattered with the remnants of packing tape and the sound of kids chasing bubbles across the lawn. Tony loaded the last box, then turned to Mykelti and gave her hand a reassuring squeeze. Christine forced a smile as she handed Mykelti a paper bag filled with snacks and a small envelope. "For the road," she said softly. "What's this?" Mykelti asked. "Just something to read when you miss home," Christine said. She didn't add that she'd spent half the night writing it, pouring her heart into every line, telling her daughter how proud she was, how much she loved her, and how it was okay to seek peace, even if it meant distance. Mykelti hugged her tightly, her breath catching. "You're going to make me cry." "You already are," Christine teased gently, wiping a tear from her own cheek. Tony approached, smiling respectfully. "Thank you for everything, Christine. You've been amazing to us. We'll come back to visit soon, I promise." Christine nodded, though she knew soon could mean months or longer. "Take care of her," she said, her voice trembling. "I will," he replied. As the car doors shut and the engine started, Christine felt the world go quiet around her. Avalon waved from the back seat, her tiny hand pressed against the glass. "Bye, Nana." Christine waved back, her vision blurring. The car rolled down the street, and just like that, they were gone, her daughter, her grandbabies, the noise and laughter that filled her home. Only silence remained, letting go. That night, Christine sat alone under the Arizona sky, the stars burning like scattered diamonds overhead. The air was cool, crisp, carrying the scent of pine and memory. She opened her phone and saw a message from Mykelti. "We just crossed into New Mexico. Love you, Mom. Don't worry about us." Christine smiled, her heart aching in that bittersweet way only mothers understood. She typed back, "I'll always worry. That's my job. Love you more." As she set the phone down, her thoughts drifted to her own journey. How far she'd come since leaving Cody, the courage it had taken to rebuild her life from ashes. Maybe Mykelti was doing the same thing now. Maybe this was her version of freedom. "Go live your life, sweetheart," she whispered to the stars. "Find your peace." She took a deep breath, the kind that fills your lungs with courage and your soul with surrender. Because that's what motherhood is, loving fiercely, even when it means watching your children walk away to find their own happiness. Reflections and realizations. Days passed, then weeks. The house grew quieter, emptier, but Christine filled the silence with new purpose, more cooking videos for her fans, more time with Truly, and more self-care than she'd ever allowed herself before. Yet every now and then, she'd glance at the framed photo on the kitchen wall, Mykelti's family smiling in their new home, and feel that familiar ache. She missed Sunday dinners, the spontaneous visits, the laughter echoing through her hallways. Still, she knew this was growth. For both of them. One afternoon, during a podcast interview, a fan asked her how she felt about her daughter's move. Christine took a moment before answering, her voice steady but soft. "Mykelti's doing what I taught all my kids to do, follow peace. It's not easy when family gets complicated, but sometimes distance helps you heal. I'm proud of her for choosing her own path." Her words resonated deeply with listeners across the country, who saw in Christine not just a mother from a reality show, but a woman who embodied resilience, forgiveness, and unconditional love. The visit. Months later, as the first snow dusted the Arizona mountains, Christine heard the sound of an engine outside. She peeked through the window and froze, the familiar SUV pulling into her driveway. She ran to the door, heart pounding, as Mykelti stepped out, holding one of the twins while Tony wrangled Avalon. "Surprise!" Mykelti grinned. "We couldn't stay away for the holidays." Christine's laughter broke through tears as she rushed forward to embrace her daughter, the baby squealing between them. The moment was pure, raw joy, the kind that stitched all the broken pieces back together. Inside, the house filled with warmth again, Christmas music playing, the smell of cinnamon rolls baking, Avalon helping Nana decorate cookies. It was then that Christine realized something profound. Distance couldn't break love. It only changed how it looked. Her family wasn't perfect, and it never would be. But they were still theirs. Still connected by an invisible thread stronger than any argument or heartbreak. Peace at last. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, Christine sat by the fireplace, gazing into the flickering flames. Her phone buzzed with a new message from Cody, surprisingly. It was short. "Heard Mykelti's visiting. I hope it's a good Christmas. Tell her I love her." Christine stared at the screen for a moment before replying. "She knows. We all do." She set the phone aside and looked around at the cozy, bustling home that once felt empty. The laughter of her grandchildren echoed faintly from down the hall. For the first time in a long time, she felt peace, not the fragile kind that depends on keeping everyone happy, but the quiet, lasting peace that comes from acceptance. Her daughter had moved across the country not to escape love, but to protect it. And in doing so, she'd taught Christine something precious, that sometimes the hardest goodbyes lead to the most beautiful reunions. Christine leaned back, smiling through tears. Family wasn't about being together all the time. It was about being there when it mattered most. And as the embers glowed in the fireplace, she whispered, "Good night, Mykelti. Wherever life takes you, you'll always have a home here."